Admiral John Martinez stood at the window of Earth Space Command's observation deck, his eyes fixed on the stars. After 30 years in space service, he thought nothing could surprise him anymore. He was wrong. "Sir, it's still there," said Lieutenant Gary Wilson, interrupting the Admiral's thoughts. "The object hasn't moved from its position near Neptune's orbit for 12 hours now." Martinez nodded slowly. "And still no response to our signals?" "None, sir. But our sensors show it's definitely artificial, too perfect in shape to be natural." The Admiral turned to face the room full of Earth's top scientists and military officials. The tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Humanity had wondered for centuries if they were alone in the universe. Today, they had their answer. "Keep broadcasting on all frequencies," Martinez ordered. "They came all this way, they must want to talk." Captain Samantha Wright entered the room, her uniform crisp despite being awake for nearly 20 hours straight. As the head of Earth's first deep space mission team, her expertise was invaluable. "Admiral," she said, saluting quickly. "We have movement. The alien vessel has launched what appears to be a smaller craft. It's heading toward Earth at incredible speed." The room erupted in controlled chaos as officials rushed to terminals. Martinez remained calm. "Estimated time of arrival?" he asked. "At current velocity." Wright checked her tablet. 3 hours, sir." Martinez straightened his uniform. "Then, we have 3 hours to prepare humanity for its first alien contact." The news spread across Earth like wildfire. Some people panicked, others celebrated, but most watched their screens in stunned silence as the strange, silvery shuttle approached the specially prepared landing area in the Nevada desert. From behind the safety barrier 2 miles away, Martinez and Wright watched as the shuttle touched down without a sound. It was smooth and reflective, shaped like a teardrop, with no visible engines or windows. "Radiation levels?" Martinez asked into his communicator. "Normal, sir," came the reply. "No detectable threats." For 5 long minutes, nothing happened. Then, without warning, a section of the shuttle's hull simply disappeared, revealing an opening. A tall, slender figure emerged. The alien was humanoid. In basic shape, 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head, but the similarities ended there. Its skin shimmered with an opal-like quality, changing color slightly as it moved. It had no visible nose, just small breathing slits. Its large, almond-shaped eyes were completely black, reflecting the desert sun like polished obsidian. "Open the channel," Martinez ordered, and a communications specialist activated the speakers that would carry his voice to the alien. "On behalf of Earth and all humanity, I welcome you to our world," Martinez said formally. The alien tilted its head, studying the humans for a moment. Then it raised a 6-fingered hand. From its palm emerged a small, floating orb of light that hovered in the air between them. "This device will translate our communication," the orb suddenly spoke in perfect English. The voice was neither male nor female, but pleasant and clear. "I am Ambassador Zilrith of the Galactic Concord. I come with urgent information for your species." Martinez and Wright exchanged a quick glance. Not just contact, but apparently an entire galactic civilization existed beyond Earth's knowledge. "We are honored by your presence, Ambassador," Martinez replied cautiously. "What information do you bring?" "A warning," the orb translated as the alien made complex gestures with its hands. "Your species has developed faster than anticipated. Our observations indicated you were at least 50 years from achieving functional faster-than-light travel, yet your prototype vessel is nearly complete." The blood drained from Martinez's face. The FTL project was Earth's most closely guarded secret. The experimental drive for the ship called USS Defiant was scheduled for its first test next month. "How? Do you know about that?" Wright asked before she could stop herself. The alien skin flickered with blue patterns. "The Galactic Concord monitors all developing species. It is for your own protection." "Protection from what?" Martinez asked. "The galactic core regions are engaged in a devastating war," the alien explained. "A conflict between ancient powers that has raged for thousands of your years. The Voidborn, who manipulate the very fabric of dark energy, battle against the Nexus Collective, beings who have merged with machine intelligence. This war has destroyed hundreds of civilizations. Ambassador, Zilrith gestured toward the sky. Your planned course would take you directly into the conflict zone. Your technology, while impressive for your development stage, would offer no defense against the weapons used in this war. Martinez kept his expression neutral, but his mind raced. Earth's unified government had chosen the Galactic Core as their first exploration target specifically because the greater concentration of stars meant more potential habitable planets. We appreciate your concern, he said diplomatically, but humanity has survived many conflicts. Perhaps we could offer assistance in resolving this war. The alien's skin rippled with what might have been amusement. Your species possesses courage, Admiral Martinez, but this conflict is beyond your comprehension. The Voidborn can tear holes in reality itself. The Collective can reprogram the quantum states of matter. Your most advanced weapons would be meaningless against either side. The ambassador moved closer, its movements fluid and graceful. The Concord maintains buffer zones of peace throughout the galaxy. Earth falls within protected space. Stay within your designated zone, develop at your natural pace, and in perhaps 200 years, when your technology and society have matured, you may be invited to join the Concord. Martinez nodded slowly, hiding his discomfort at being told to stay in humanity's corner of the galaxy. And if we choose to explore beyond this? Buffer zone? Wright asked. The alien's skin darkened to a deep purple. Then you would forfeit our protection. The Conquered cannot prevent your destruction if you willingly venture into the war zone. Many young species have tried. None have survived. After the meeting concluded, Ambassador Zilreth returned to the shuttle, which lifted off without a sound and rapidly disappeared into the sky. In a secure underground bunker beneath the Nevada desert, Martinez, Wright, and Earth's Security Council reviewed recordings of the encounter. They knew about the Defiant, General Patricia Adams said, her voice tight with concern. What else do they know about us? More importantly, do we believe them? Asked Dr. Nathan Clark, the lead scientist on the FTL project. This convenient, or that we can't possibly understand, happening exactly where we plan to explore? Wright stepped forward. Sir, during the translator's operation, I noticed something. When the ambassador described the Voidborn and the Collective, its skin patterns changed, subtle differences from its normal speech patterns. Meaning what? Martinez asked. It might be nothing, Wright admitted. But in humans, that would indicate stress, possibly deception. Martinez stared at the frozen image of Ambassador Zilreth on the screen. They're hiding something. The question is what? The timing is too perfect, General Adams said. Just as we develop the capability to reach the galactic core, they appear with warnings to stay away. Martinez made his decision. Dr. Clark, the Defiance launch proceeds as scheduled, but I want all information about this encounter incorporated into the mission briefing. Captain Wright, you'll command the expedition. Wright straightened, surprised. Sir? You notice the inconsistencies in the ambassador's behavior. You have the instincts we need for this mission. What about the Concord's warning? Asked a junior officer in the back. Martinez's expression hardened. Throughout human history, we've been told certain places were too dangerous to explore, certain knowledge too dangerous to seek. Those who listened remained in the dark. Those who didn't changed the world. He looked around the room. We didn't come this far to be confined to our solar system by fear. The meeting adjourned with a new determination. In orbit above Earth, construction on the USS Defiant continued around the clock. Humanity had been warned about the fire that burned at the galaxy's heart. But instead of retreating, they would walk straight into it. 6 months after the visit from Ambassador Zilreth, the USS Defiant floated in the finishing dock above Earth's moon. The ship gleamed under the work lights as engineers made final adjustments to its experimental faster-than-light drive. Commander, Frank Rodriguez supervised the loading of supplies from the observation deck. At 42, he had spent more than half his life in space. The Defiant would be his final posting before retirement, if they survived. Final weapons check complete, Lieutenant Lisa Morgan reported as she joined him at the window. All systems operational, Rodriguez nodded. At 34, Morgan was the youngest tactical officer ever assigned to a mission of this importance. Her quick thinking during the Jupiter Station crisis had saved hundreds of lives and caught the attention of Admiral Martinez. "Do you think the aliens were telling the truth?" she asked quietly. "About the war?" "Partly," Rodriguez replied. "But there's something they didn't want us to see out there. And in my experience, people only hide things that are valuable or dangerous. Or both," Morgan added. On the command deck, Captain Samantha Wright reviewed the mission parameters. 1. Last time, the Defiant would travel to the edge of what the Conquered had designated as Earth's safe zone, and then carefully proceed toward the galactic core. Their primary mission was observation only, no contact with any alien forces unless absolutely necessary. Admiral Martinez entered the bridge, carrying a small metal case. "Captain Wright," he said formally. "Everything ready for departure?" "Yes, sir," Samantha replied. "All systems green. Crew at full complement. We launch in 6 hours." Martinez nodded and handed her the case. "This contains all the data we've collected from analyzing the Conquered ship's brief visit. Energy signatures, radiation patterns, communication frequencies. The best minds on Earth have been studying it for 6 months." Samantha accepted the case. "Anything useful?" "More than we expected," Martinez said with a small smile. "The Conquered may be advanced, but they underestimate us. We've identified patterns in their subspace communications that suggest their warning wasn't just about protection." "What was it about?" "Fear," Martinez said simply. "Not of the war they described, but of us. Something about human biology or psychology terrifies them. You'll find the full analysis in there, but the short version is they've encountered species like us before, and those encounters didn't end well for the Conquered." Samantha's eyebrows raised slightly. "They're afraid of humans? We've barely left our solar system." "It's not what we are," Martinez explained. "It's what they believe we might become. Your orders remain the same, but now you understand why this mission matters so much. The Concord is hiding something, and we need to know what it is." As Martinez left, Science Officer Alan Peters approached Samantha with a final report on his tablet. "Captain, we've finished integrating the new sensor array," he said. "It should allow us to detect the energy signatures the Concorde used during their FTL jump." Samantha nodded. "Good work. We launch at 0600. Get some rest." "With respect, Captain," Peters replied with a smile. "I don't think anyone's sleeping tonight." 6 hours later, the Defiant detached from the lunar dock and moved slowly away from Earth. The crew worked with focused efficiency as the ship cleared the moon's orbit and aligned for its first jump. "FTL drive charging," announced Navigator Rick Johnson from his station. "All parameters nominal." Samantha sat in the captain's chair, feeling the weight of the moment. 300 crew members depended on her decisions. Earth's future might depend on what they discovered. "Captain," Communications Officer Karen Lee spoke up. "We're receiving a transmission from Lunar Base. Admiral Martinez requests visual communication." "On screen," Samantha ordered. Martinez's face appeared on the main display. "Captain Wright, this is your final authorization for Operation Defiance. You are cleared to proceed beyond Earth's designated safe zone. Remember your primary mission: observation and information gathering." "Understood, Admiral," Samantha replied. Martinez's expression softened slightly. "Good luck, Samantha. Bring our people home." The screen returned to the view of space as the transmission ended. "FTL drive at full charge," Johnson reported. "Ready for jump on your mark." Samantha took a deep breath. "Engage." The stars stretched into lines as the Defiant's experimental drive created a bubble of distorted space around the ship. For a breathless moment, reality itself seemed to bend. Then they were through, traveling faster than light toward the edge of their solar system. 3 days later, the Defiant reached the boundary the Conquered had designated as humanity's quarantine zone. Beyond this invisible line in space, they, would be trespassing according to the Galactic Concord's rules. Sensors show no patrol ships or monitoring stations, Morgan reported from Tactical. If they're watching this boundary, they're doing it from a distance. Or they never expected us to test it so soon, Rodriguez suggested. Samantha studied the star map. Proceed at half speed. All sensors at maximum sensitivity. The Defiant moved cautiously forward, crossing the boundary without incident. For several hours, they continued deeper into what should have been contested space according to Ambassador Silreth's warning. Captain, Peters called suddenly from the science station. I'm detecting debris ahead, a lot of it. On screen, Samantha ordered. The EQ. Main view showed a massive field of wreckage stretching as far as the sensors could detect. Twisted pieces of metal and unknown materials drifted silently in the void. Analysis? Samantha asked. Peters worked his controls rapidly. Definitely artificial. Multiple design types suggesting different species or civilizations. But these aren't. Recent, Captain. Radiation dating suggests some pieces have been here for hundreds of years. Rodriguez joined Peters at the science station examining the readings. If there's a war, it's been going on for centuries. Or it ended long ago, Morgan suggested. Samantha considered the implications. Mr. Peters, can you identify any debris matching Concord technology? Not from this distance, we would need to collect samples. Make it happen. Prepare a probe and, Captain, Morgan interrupted urgently. Multiple ships appearing at 90 Mark II. They're just materializing out of nowhere. The tactical display showed 3 vessels emerging from what appeared to be rifts in space itself. Unlike the smooth, silvery design of the Concord ship, these were darker, with hulls that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Shields up, Samantha ordered calmly. Weapons on standby, but do not target. Hail them on all frequencies. They're already hailing us, Lee reported with surprise. The transmission is in English. Samantha straightened in her chair. On screen. The being that appeared looked vaguely humanoid, but with skin that shimmered like oil on water. Its eyes were large and completely black, but unlike the Concord ambassador, it had distinct facial features that seemed almost familiar. Humans of Earth, the alien said in perfect unaccented English. I am Commander Etherai of the Voidborn Resistance. We've been waiting for you. Samantha kept her expression neutral despite her shock. This is Captain Samantha Wright of the Earth vessel Defiant. How do you know our language? The alien's lips curved in what might have been a smile. We've been monitoring your communication since the Concord contacted you. We needed to know if you would accept their warning or challenge it. And why would that matter to you? Rodriguez asked from beside Samantha. Because the Concord lied to you, Etherai replied. About everything. There is no war between ancient powers. There is only the conquered and those who resist their domination of the galaxy. And you're the resistance, Samantha stated rather than asked. We are. And you, humans, are potentially our greatest allies. If you are willing to hear the truth that the conquered has hidden for 10,000 years. Samantha exchanged looks with her officers before turning back to the screen. We came looking for answers, Commander Etherai. We're listening. The Voidborn ships escorted the Defiant through a series of hidden spatial corridors. Commander Etherai explained that these were natural wormholes that the Conquered either couldn't detect or couldn't navigate. Captain Samantha Wright watched, with fascination as the stars blurred around them in patterns she had never seen before. These corridors connect parts of the galaxy that should be millions of light-years apart, Science Officer Alan Peters said as he studied his readings. It completely changes our understanding of space travel. After traveling for several hours, they arrived at what Etherai called a shadow system, a star and its planets hidden within a pocket of distorted space that made it invisible to normal sensors. Welcome to Haven, Etherai said as they approached a blue-green planet. One of our few safe worlds. The Defiant entered orbit around Haven. From space, it looked similar to Earth, with oceans and continents, though the land masses were shaped differently. Etherai invited Captain Wright, Commander Rodriguez, Lieutenant Morgan, and Science Officer Peters to shuttle down to the surface for a meeting with the Voidborn leadership. The shuttle landed in a clearing surrounded by tall spiral structures that seemed to grow out of the ground itself. They weren't buildings in the human sense, but something between architecture and living plants. Your structures are alive, Peters noted with amazement as they walked toward a larger central building. All our technology integrates with living systems, HFY explained. It's one of many philosophical differences between us and the conquered. Inside the central structure, a group of Voidborn waited around a circular table. They varied in appearance. Some had the same shimmering skin as HFY, while others looked almost completely different with features adapted to various environments. The Resistance Council, HFY introduced them, leaders from the dozen species that actively fight against conquered control. An older Voidborn with deep blue skin and silver markings across his face stepped forward. I am Elder Varric, Chief Coordinator of the Resistance. We have waited a long time for a species like yours to emerge, humans. What makes humans so special? Rodriguez asked bluntly. Varric gestured to a hovering display that appeared in the center of the table. It showed images of Earth, from ancient civilizations to modern cities. Your adaptive capacity is remarkable, Varric said. Most species take thousands of years to progress from primitive tools to space travel. You did it in less than 400. The speed of your technological advancement terrifies the Concord. And that's why they tried to contain us with their warning, Samantha realized. Exactly, HFY confirmed. The Concord isn't a diplomatic body as they claimed. They're an empire that has ruled the galaxy for over 10,000 years. They identify promising species, isolate them in quarantine zones, and harvest their resources and innovations while keeping them technologically stunted. What about the war they mentioned? Morgan asked. The Voidborn and the Nexus Collective? The Voidborn exchanged looks before Varric answered. The Nexus Collective is a fabrication, a boogeyman created to justify their military presence throughout the galaxy. As for the Voidborn, he paused. We are what the Concord fears most, HFY continued. We were once servants of the conquered, genetically engineered to survive the void between galaxies as they expanded their empire. But we evolved beyond their control, developed our own culture and consciousness. Peters leaned forward, fascinated. You rebelled. We sought freedom, Varric corrected gently. The Concord believes all other species exist to serve them. They've eliminated entire civilizations that refuse to comply. The display changed to show images of devastated worlds, planets with massive craters and ruined cities. These were independent cultures that defied conquered quarantine, HFY explained. The conquered presented itself as a peaceful authority to each of them, just as they did to you. When those civilizations ventured beyond their assigned boundaries, the Concord destroyed them and blamed it on fictional enemies. Samantha studied the images with growing concern. So the debris field we've found, the remains of previous rebellions, Varric confirmed. The Concord has been playing this game for millennia. Why approach us? Samantha asked. We're primitive by your standards. Because you're dangerous, HFY said with something like admiration in his voice. Human adaptability is legendary among those who watch developing species. Your rate of advancement is unprecedented in recent galactic history. There have been perhaps 6 other species in the last million years with your particular blend of aggression, creativity, and cooperative potential, Varric added. The Concord eliminated 5 of them before they could pose a threat. And the 6th? Rodriguez asked. HFY's skin rippled with emotion. The 6th became us. The original Voidborn were a species similar to humans in their potential. The Concord tried to control them through genetic manipulation and forced evolution. The experiment backfired, creating beings with abilities the Concord couldn't predict or contain. Silence fell over the room as the humans processed this information. We are what humanity might become in 10,000 years, if allowed to evolve. Without Concord interference, Varric said softly. Samantha stood up, pacing the room as she thought. So the Concord's warning was never about protecting us from a war. It was about protecting themselves from what we might become. Precisely, HFY confirmed. They recognize in you the same potential they once saw in our ancestors. They fear you will repeat our path, growing beyond their control and challenging their dominion. What happens now? Morgan asked. The Defiant is just one ship. If what you're saying is true, we're facing an empire that controls most of the galaxy. You have something we lack, Varric replied. Innovation, creativity. The Conquered's control has stifled advancement throughout the galaxy for millennia. The Voidborn have certain abilities, our spatial manipulation technology, our understanding of dark energy, but we lack the inventive spirit that humans possess. A partnership, HFY suggested. We can provide you with knowledge of Conquered, weaknesses, access to resources beyond your current reach, and protection through our spatial corridor network. In return, we need your unique approach to problem solving. Rodriguez laughed without humor. You want us to help you fight a war against an enemy thousands of years more advanced than us? No, Varric said, his expression serious. We want you to help us end a war that has continued for too long. The Conquered maintains its power through fear and isolation, keeping species separate so they cannot share knowledge or unite against oppression. And we're supposed to just trust you? Morgan asked skeptically. How do we know this isn't just another manipulation? Instead of answering directly, HFY touched a control on the table. A new image appeared, a recording of Ambassador Zilrith speaking with other Conquered officials on their ship, unaware they were being monitored. The humans must be contained, Zilrith was saying. Their development curve suggests they could achieve Class 3 technology within a century. If they discover the truth about the quarantine system and make contact with other isolated species, we could face another Voidborn situation. Another Conquered official responded. The Earth containment protocol is prepared. If they violate the MIA boundary, we eliminate their deep space capabilities and reset their development. The same procedure we've used a dozen times before. Samantha watched the recording with a growing sense of anger. They were planning to attack Earth all along, only if you defied them, Varric clarified. Which you did by coming here. They've likely detected your ship crossing the boundary by now, HFY added. They will be preparing their response. Samantha looked at her officers, then back to the Voidborn leaders. If we're going to help each other, we need to get back to Earth immediately. We have to warn them. We can get you there faster than the Conquered can mobilize, HFY promised. But you face a choice, Captain Wright. Will you return to your quarantine zone as instructed? Or will you join the true war? The fight for freedom from Conquered? Domination? Rodriguez didn't hesitate. I think I speak for many when I say we didn't come all this way just to turn back. Samantha nodded, her decision made. Take us home, Commander HFY. Earth needs to prepare for what's coming. 3 months after returning to Earth with the Voidborn delegation, humanity's defensive posture had completely transformed. The Defiant's journey had changed everything. Captain Samantha Wright stood in Earth's newly constructed command center, beneath the Rocky Mountains, watching as engineers installed Voidborn-inspired technology into Earth's defense systems. It's remarkable how quickly we've adapted their tech, Admiral Martinez said as he joined her. Their scientists said it would take years. We did it in months. That's why they wanted our help, Samantha replied. We see solutions they don't. Earth's united government had immediately recognized the threat the Concord posed. When presented with evidence of the Concord's true intentions, world leaders had set aside their differences to focus on a common enemy. Resources poured into Project Firestorm, the integration of Voidborn dark energy manipulation technology with human innovation. Dr. Olivia Russell, head of the Firestorm Initiative, approached with a tablet displaying the latest test results. At 36, Dr. Russell had been Earth's leading quantum physicist before the alien contact. Now she led the most important scientific project in human history. The dark energy cannons are exceeding expectations, she reported. Yesterday's test was 300% more efficient than the Voidborn's original design. How is that possible? Martinez asked. Their civilization is thousands of years ahead of ours, but they've been fighting a defensive war for centuries, Olivia explained. Always hiding, always running. Humans approach problems differently. She smiled slightly. We don't just want to escape the Conquered. We want to beat them, Commander. HFY entered the command center with Lieutenant Morgan. Over the past months, the Voidborn commander had become an essential advisor to Earth's Defense Council. His skin rippled with blue patterns, a sign of excitement in his species. "You need to see this," Morgan said, gesturing to the main display. "We just intercepted a Concord communication." The screen showed a massive fleet, hundreds of Concord ships gathering near the edge of Earth's solar system. "The Concord is mobilizing their central fleet," Morgan explained. "They're sending everything they have. Our estimates suggest they'll reach Earth in 6 days." Instead of fear, Martinez showed only determination. "Good. That means they're afraid. And when people are afraid, they make mistakes." He turned to HFY. "Can your people be ready in time?" "The Resistance fleet is already on its way." HFY confirmed. "But we can only provide 40 ships at most. The Concord outnumbers us significantly." "Numbers aren't everything," Samantha said. "We've been preparing for this. Over the past 3 months, Earth had constructed 20 new vessels based on the Defiance design, but enhanced with Voidborn technology. The flagship of this new fleet, the Phoenix, was Captain Wright's new command. Martinez activated the command center's communication system. "This is Admiral Martinez to all Earth Defense Forces. Operation Firestorm is now active. All personnel to battle stations. This is not a drill." Throughout the solar system, humanity prepared for war. Defense platforms around Earth, Mars, and Jupiter powered up their newly installed dark energy weapons. The 20 ships of Earth's defense fleet moved into position, their crews ready for the fight of their lives. On the Phoenix's bridge, Samantha reviewed final preparations with her officers. Commander Rodriguez served as her first officer, with Lieutenant Morgan as tactical officer. "Dark shield systems at full capacity," reported Chief Engineer Carol Peterson from her station. The Dark Shield was humanity's adaptation of Voidborn spatial manipulation technology, a defensive system capable of absorbing enemy fire and converting it to usable energy. "Something the Voidborn never thought to do," HFY had commented, when first seeing the design. "We always saw their energy weapons as a threat, not a resource." For the next 5 days, Earth's forces prepared and waited. Civilian populations moved to underground shelters. Essential industries continued operation. Under military protection, the entire planet held its breath, waiting for the first true interstellar war in human history. On the 6th day, long-range sensors detected the Concord fleet emerging from faster-than-light travel near Neptune's orbit. 312 capital ships, Morgan reported from Tactical, plus support vessels. They're approaching in standard combat formation. A communication request flashed on the main screen. Samantha nodded to Morgan. "Let's hear what they have to say." The face that appeared belonged to a Concord High Counselor, a being with pale, almost translucent skin and eyes that reflected starlight-like mirrors. Unlike Ambassador Zilreth, this Concord official made no attempt to appear friendly. "Humans of Earth," the alien spoke in a cold, mechanical tone. "You have violated the terms of your quarantine by venturing beyond your assigned boundary. You have further compounded this violation by consorting with known enemies of the Concord. You will surrender all Voidborn technology and accept immediate containment protocols, or your civilization will be reset to a pre-industrial state." Admiral Martinez stepped forward to respond from the command center. "We reject your authority and your threats. Earth is a free world, and humanity will choose its own path forward." The Concord official's expression didn't change. "Your defiance is noted and will be corrected. Your primitive weapons cannot harm our vessels. Surrender now and some of your population may be preserved as laborers." Martinez cut the transmission without responding further. He looked at Samantha through their still-connected internal channel. "Captain Wright, the Phoenix is authorized. To engage, show them what humanity can do." "With pleasure, Admiral," Samantha replied. She turned to her crew. "Battle stations, prepare to execute Jump Pattern Alpha." The Phoenix's engines hummed as the dark energy drive powered up. Unlike conventional faster-than-light travel, this human-enhanced version of Voidborn technology allowed for precise short-range jumps even in the middle of combat. "All ships reporting ready, Captain," Rodriguez confirmed. Samantha studied the tactical display showing the approaching Concorde fleet. The enemy ships moved with absolute confidence, their formation perfect and unwavering. They expected a primitive defense from an outmatched species. "They think we're going to fight a conventional battle," Samantha observed. "Let's prove them wrong. Execute jump." The Phoenix vanished from its position, reappearing seconds later directly behind the Concorde, fleet's rear guard. The 19 other Earth vessels jumped simultaneously, each appearing at different strategic points around the enemy formation. Before the Concorde ships could react, the Phoenix fired its main weapon, a dark energy cannon of human design. Unlike the Voidborn's defensive applications of this technology, humanity had weaponized it in a way the Conquered had never encountered. The beam struck a Conquered cruiser, not impacting its shields, but passing through them entirely. The energy didn't damage the ship in a conventional sense. Instead, it briefly removed a section of the vessel from normal spacetime, creating a localized rift that tore the ship apart from the inside. "Direct hit," Morgan reported as the Conquered cruiser split into pieces. Their shields had no effect. Throughout the Concorde formation, other Earth vessels fired similar weapons, each shot disabling or destroying an enemy ship. For the first time in thousands of years, the Concorde faced a weapon they had no defense against. "They're adjusting formation," Rodriguez noted as the enemy fleet broke its perfect lines and began evasive maneuvers. "They didn't expect this," Samantha allowed herself a small smile. "That's the thing about humanity, Commander. We rarely do." "What's expected?" She turned to the helm. "Prepare for secondary jump pattern. We're just getting started." The Galactic Concorde had ruled unopposed for 10,000 years. They had forgotten what it was like to face a serious threat. The surprise of humanity's attack quickly turned to panic, as the Concorde fleet commanders realized their shields offered no protection against Earth's dark energy weapons. "They're breaking formation," Lieutenant Morgan reported from her tactical station on the Phoenix. "Their communication patterns suggest confusion in their command structure." For the next 2 hours, Earth's 20 ships danced through space, using their jump drives to appear and disappear across the battlefield. Each human vessel targeted Conquered ships with surgical precision, focusing on engines and weapons systems rather than attempting total destruction. "We don't need to destroy them all," Captain Samantha Wright had instructed her fleet. "We just need to show them we can." Near Jupiter, Commander Etherai led the Voidborn fleet in a supporting action, preventing Concorde reinforcements from regrouping. Though fewer in number, the Voidborn ships used their intimate knowledge of spatial corridors to appear and disappear across the battlefield, confusing and dividing the Concorde forces. "The humans have awakened something in us," Etherai transmitted to his fleet. "For centuries we fought merely to survive. Now we fight to win." In orbit around Earth, Admiral Martinez monitored the battle from the command center. Beside him, Dr. Olivia Russell worked frantically at her station, finalizing her greatest project, the Prometheus Protocol. "If this works," she explained to Martinez, "we'll be able to send a quantum-entangled dark energy pulse through every Concorde ship simultaneously. Their systems are all networked. It's their strength, but also their vulnerability." "And if it doesn't work?" Martinez asked. Olivia looked up from her calculations, her expression serious but determined. "Then at least we went down fighting." Martinez nodded. "Proceed when ready, Doctor." On the Phoenix, Samantha observed the battle with growing confidence. Earth's smaller fleet had already disabled or destroyed 47 Concorde vessels without a single human casualty. The enemy's superior numbers meant little when they couldn't hit their targets. "We've identified their command ship," Rodriguez reported. "It's the large vessel at the center of their formation. Our sensors detect unusual energy patterns, possibly their central communication hub." Samantha studied the tactical display. "Then that's our primary target. Plot a corridor jump directly alongside their flagship. We'll deploy the special package." "That's deep inside their defensive screen," Morgan warned. "Even with our jump capability, it's risky." "Which is why they won't expect it," Samantha replied with a grim smile. "The Conquered has ruled through fear for 10,000 years. They've forgotten what it's like to face an enemy who isn't afraid." As the Phoenix prepared for its dangerous jump, Dr. Russell's team on Earth made the final adjustments to the Prometheus protocol. All parameters set, one of her assistants reported. Quantum entanglement stability at 94%. Olivia took a deep breath. The Phoenix needs to deliver the transmitter device to the Concord flagship before we can activate the protocol. Once it's in place, we'll have a direct link to their entire network. Martinez opened a channel to the Phoenix. Captain Wright, Prometheus is ready. The fate of Earth depends on your next move. Understood, Admiral, Samantha responded calmly.
We're moving into position now.
The Phoenix vanished from its position at the edge of the battlefield, reappearing seconds later directly alongside the massive Concorde flagship. Before the enemy could react, the human vessel launched a specially designed missile, not a weapon, but a delivery system for the quantum entanglement device. Transmitter attached to the flagship's hull, Morgan confirmed as the missile made contact. Activating now. Phoenix to Earth Command, Samantha reported. Package delivered. Prometheus is a go. In the command center, Olivia's fingers flew across her console. Initiating Prometheus protocol in 3, 2, 1. A wave of quantum-entangled dark energy spread outward from Earth, carried through the subspace network that connected all Concorde vessels. Unlike conventional attacks that targeted hulls or shields, this assault went directly for the Concorde's central operating system, the technological nervous system that had remained unchanged for thousands of years. Throughout the solar system, Concorde ships suddenly lost power as their systems were overwhelmed by the paradoxical energy wave, a creation that should have been impossible according to their understanding of physics. On the Phoenix's bridge, Samantha watched as the massive Concorde flagship drifted powerless in space. Open a channel to their command deck, she ordered. The face that appeared on the screen belonged to the same High Counselor who had demanded Earth's surrender hours earlier. But now, the alien's expression showed something new. Fear. Impossible, the alien whispered, genuine shock in its ancient eyes. You are barely out of your planetary cradle. How could you? That's the thing about humans, Samantha interrupted. We don't accept limitations, we don't bow to impossibility, and we certainly don't stay in our designated zone. Within minutes, the remaining functional Concorde ships began retreating, jumping away from Earth's solar system in disarray. For the first time in recorded history, the Concorde had been defeated in direct combat. Admiral Martinez opened a global communication channel from the command center. People of Earth, the immediate threat has been neutralized. The Concorde fleet is retreating. This day will be remembered as humanity's first victory in interstellar warfare. Cheers erupted across command centers and shelters worldwide. But the HFY celebration was tempered by the knowledge that this was only the beginning. The Concorde controlled thousands of worlds across the galaxy. They would return, and next time they would be prepared. In the days that followed, news of the Concorde's defeat spread through quantum communication channels to thousands of quarantined species across the galaxy. The Voidborn made sure that every developing civilization heard about the humans who had defied the Concorde and won. Rebellions erupted throughout Concorde space as other species realized their oppressors were not invincible after all. The Voidborn and humans established the Galactic Freedom Coalition, inviting all species to join as equals. 2 weeks after the battle, Captain Wright stood with Admiral Martinez and Dr. Russell on the observation deck of Earth's orbital command station, watching the sunrise over the Pacific Ocean. What happens now? Olivia asked. The Concorde still controls most of the galaxy. Now we take the fight to them, Martinez replied. The Voidborn have provided coordinates for dozens of other quarantined species. Some are more advanced than us, others less so. But all of them deserve the chance to choose their own destiny. Samantha gazed at the stars becoming visible as the station moved into Earth's shadow. The Concorde maintained its power by keeping species isolated and afraid. We'll do the opposite, unite them through cooperation and hope. Do you think we did the right thing? Olivia asked quietly. Walking into the fire instead of staying safe in our little corner of space? Martinez considered the question. The Concorde gave us a choice, Stay safe in our cradle or face annihilation. They never considered a third option. Which was? Samantha asked. That when humanity walks into fire, Martinez said with quiet pride. We don't burn. We become the flame. Already, shipyards around Earth and Mars were constructing a new class of vessels, faster, stronger, and equipped with humanity's continuously improving version of void-borne technology. The Phoenix would soon be joined by hundreds of sister ships, each named after mythical creatures of rebirth and transformation. Earth scientists worked alongside void-borne experts, combining their knowledge in ways neither had imagined possible. The quantum entanglement breakthrough that powered the Prometheus Protocol was just the beginning of what humans and void-borne could achieve together. As reports came in of other species rising up against their conquered overlords, Samantha felt a sense of purpose stronger than anything she had experienced before. Humanity hadn't just secured its own freedom. They had sparked a revolution that would transform the galaxy. The conquered thought they could contain us, she said softly, watching, as the first of the new fleet rose from Earth's atmosphere. They never understood what makes humans different. And what's that? Olivia asked. Samantha smiled. We don't just survive adversity, we thrive on it. The galactic forces had indeed crumbled, and humanity hadn't just walked into the fire, they had emerged from it transformed, becoming the beacon that would light the way for countless other species to claim their freedom.